Why is happiness so hard to find? Why do we always feel like something is missing, no matter what we achieve? We buy things, chase success, and seek approval. Yet true happiness slips away like sand through our fingers. Is it possible that we are looking in the wrong place? Imagine this. You finally get what you always wanted. A new phone, a promotion, or even the perfect vacation. For a while, it feels amazing. But then, the excitement fades, and you start wanting something else. Why does this happen? Why does happiness never last? Think about a child playing with a new toy. At first, they are overjoyed. But after a few days, the toy lies forgotten, and they want another one. Are we really any different? We grow up, but our minds still chase one thing after another, hoping the next thing will finally make us happy. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please, if you're finding value here, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps us keep bringing you life-changing wisdom. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Now, let's talk about happiness. Buddhism teaches that the reason we struggle to find happiness is that we look for it in the wrong places. We chase temporary pleasures, thinking they will bring lasting joy. But no matter how much we gain, the feeling never lasts. Buddha discovered a truth that most people ignore. Happiness is not found in things, achievements, or approval. It comes from within. It is a state of mind, not something we get from the outside world. He realized that suffering comes from attachment, our craving for things to be a certain way. We want more money, more success, more love. And when we don't get it, we feel empty. But even when we do, we start craving something else. Think about a time when you really wanted something. Maybe a job, a relationship, or a big goal. You worked hard for it, and when you finally got it, you were happy. But how long did that happiness last? A few days? Weeks? And then what? You started wanting the next thing. This cycle never ends. Buddhism offers a different way. Instead of chasing happiness, it teaches us to cultivate it from within. How? By letting go of attachment, practicing mindfulness, and understanding the true nature of life. True happiness is not in having more. It is in wanting less. When we stop clinging, when we stop expecting life to always go our way, we begin to find peace. And that peace is deeper than any temporary pleasure. Buddhist teachings are not about giving up life's joys. They are about seeing through illusions. When we understand the nature of desire, we stop being controlled by it. We enjoy life fully, without being trapped by the constant need for more. This journey to happiness is not about doing something extreme. It is about a shift in perspective, a way of seeing life that brings lasting peace instead of temporary highs. In the next part, we will explore why we keep chasing things that don't fulfill us and how to break free from this endless cycle. Stay with us on this journey. It might just change the way you see life. The illusion of desire, why we chase what won't fulfill us. Sit down, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, why are you never satisfied? Why does happiness slip away the moment you think you've found it? You work hard, get what you want, but soon, the joy fades, and you start chasing something else. Does this cycle ever end? A man once came to the Buddha, troubled and restless. I have everything I wanted, he said, but I still feel empty. Why? Buddha smiled and asked, if a thirsty man drinks salty water, will his thirst go away? The man shook his head. No, it will only make him thirstier. Exactly, Buddha said. Desire is like salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. And this is the truth we often ignore. We believe that the next thing, the next job, the next relationship, the next big achievement, will finally make us happy. But happiness always runs ahead, just out of reach. Like a traveler chasing the horizon, we never arrive. The illusion of more. Think about a time when you got something you really wanted. Maybe a new car, a dream house, or a promotion. How long did the happiness last? A few days? A few weeks? And then what? You started wanting something else. This is the trap of desire. We tell ourselves, once I have this, I'll be happy. But the moment we get it, our mind moves to the next thing. It never stops. This is why even the richest, most successful people still feel empty. They have everything, yet they want more. And that more never ends. The problem is not with having goals or ambitions. The problem is believing that happiness is in those things. It is not. The prison of craving. Imagine a dog chasing its own tail. It runs in circles, trying to catch something that is already a part of it. This is how we live. We chase happiness in things, not realizing that happiness is already within us. But because we don't see it, we keep running, exhausting ourselves, feeling frustrated, always looking for the next thing. A man once asked the Buddha, "Why do I always feel restless? Why do I never feel at peace?" Buddha replied, "Because your mind is like a monkey jumping from branch to branch, never still. It grabs one thing, then reaches for another, never satisfied with what it has." Does this sound familiar? Have you ever noticed how your mind jumps from one desire to the next? One day you want success, the next you want love, then you want respect, then adventure. The mind is never still, always chasing, always craving. The solution: see through the illusion. The first step to freedom is seeing the truth. Desire will never end. The moment you satisfy one, another will take its place. If you don't understand this, you will spend your whole life chasing shadows, never finding peace. So what should we do? Give up everything? No. The answer is not in running away from life, but in changing how we see it. Instead of believing that happiness is in the next thing, realize that happiness is a state of mind. It is not in what you have, but in how you experience life. A poor man can be at peace if he stops craving more. A rich man can be miserable if he keeps wanting more. It is not about what you have. It is about how much you crave. The path to freedom. Imagine walking into a room filled with beautiful things. But instead of grabbing them, you simply admire them. You enjoy their beauty, but you don't feel the need to own them. This is the way of freedom. Buddha did not teach us to reject life. He taught us to live fully without being enslaved by craving, to enjoy what we have without being controlled by the need for more. When you understand this, you stop running. You stop chasing happiness like a dog chasing its tail. You realize happiness is already here, in the present moment. But how do we reach this state? How do we escape the trap of desire? In the next part, we will explore the power of letting go and how it can free you from suffering. Stay on this journey. The truth is closer than you think. The power of letting go, freeing yourself from attachment. You are holding a rope. Someone is pulling it from the other end. The more you pull, the more it burns your hands. The pain increases, but you refuse to let go. Why? Because your mind tells you that if you hold on long enough, you will win. But what if the real victory is in releasing the rope? What if letting go is the key to peace? Attachment is like that rope. We hold on, sometimes without even realizing it. We cling to people, possessions, beliefs, and expectations, hoping they will bring us happiness. But instead, they bring us pain. Have you ever felt hurt because someone didn't treat you the way you expected? Or felt anxious because you feared losing something you love? That is attachment at work. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from clinging. We attach ourselves to things, thinking they are permanent. But nothing in life stays the same. Relationships change, possessions break, even our own bodies grow old. When we refuse to accept this truth, we suffer. But when we learn to let go, we find freedom. Imagine you are holding a glass of water. At first, it's easy. But if you hold it for hours, your hand will start to ache. The longer you grip it, the heavier it feels. Now think about your worries, your desires, your fears. How long have you been holding them? How much weight have they added to your life? What would happen if you simply let them go? Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean we stop caring or stop loving. It means we stop clinging. We stop expecting people to always act a certain way. We stop fearing change. We stop thinking that happiness depends on something outside of us. Have you ever noticed that when you stop chasing something, it often comes to you on its own? Happiness, love, success. These things are like butterflies. If you run after them, they fly away. But if you sit still, they may land gently on your shoulder. Letting go does not mean you lose anything. It means you create space for what truly belongs to you. A river flows effortlessly. It does not try to control its path. It does not hold on to rocks or fallen leaves. It simply moves forward, adapting to the landscape. Be like the river. Trust the flow of life. Think about the things that have caused you pain. A relationship that ended. A dream that didn't come true. A mistake you made in the past. How much suffering came not from the event itself, but from your resistance to it. The pain was real, but did holding on to it help you? Or did it only make the wound deeper? Letting go is a practice. It takes time. The mind will fight against it because it is used to clinging. But with awareness, you can train yourself to release what no longer serves you. Start small. Let go of a grudge. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of a small fear. Each step makes the next one easier. Close your eyes for a moment. Think about something that has been weighing on you. Now, imagine placing it in your hands. See it clearly. Now, open your hands and let it drift away, like a leaf on a river. How do you feel? Lighter? Freer? That is the power of letting go. A tree does not resist the wind. It bends, it sways, but it does not break. Life will bring storms. People will leave. Plans will change. Nothing is guaranteed. But when you learn to release your grip, you will no longer fear these changes. You will move through life with ease, just like the tree in the wind. Have you ever tried to hold water in your hands? The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you relax your hand, the water remains. Life is the same. When you force things, you lose them. When you let them be, they stay as long as they are meant to. Think about a time when you let go of something, a person, a belief, an expectation. Maybe it was painful at first, but did it not bring you peace in the end? Did you not grow from it? Every loss, every change, every ending is a lesson. The sooner we accept this, the sooner we find true happiness. So, what can you let go of today? A past regret? A future worry? The need for someone's approval? Choose one thing, release it, and feel the peace that follows. Because when you let go, you don't lose. You gain freedom, mindfulness, the art of living in the present moment. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in and out. Feel the air as it enters your body. Feel it as it leaves. For just a few seconds, nothing else exists. No past, no future, just this moment. Now, open your eyes. Where did your mind go? Did it run to the past, remembering something you regret? Or did it rush to the future, worrying about what might happen next? This is how we live. Always somewhere else, never truly here. Our minds are like wild horses, running in every direction, never stopping. We are always thinking about something. What happened yesterday? What might go wrong tomorrow? What others think of us? And because of this, we miss what is right in front of us. Have you ever eaten a meal without really tasting it? Have you ever walked down a street without really seeing it? Have you ever talked to someone without truly listening? We live our lives half awake, lost in our thoughts, missing the beauty of what is happening right now. This is why we feel empty. This is why we are restless. Not because something is missing from our lives, but because we are missing from our lives. Buddha taught a simple truth. Happiness is found in the present moment. Not in the past, not in the future, but in the here and now. This is mindfulness, the art of truly living, of being awake in every moment. Think of a cup of tea. If you drink it while scrolling on your phone, your mind is somewhere else. But if you drink it slowly, feeling the warmth, tasting the flavor, noticing the steam rising, in that moment, you are fully alive. The tea has not changed. Only your awareness has. Mindfulness is not something difficult. It is not something you need to learn. It is something you need to remember. It is how we lived as children, fully present, fully aware, fully alive. A child does not eat while thinking about tomorrow. A child does not walk while worrying about next week. A child experiences life directly. This is why childhood feels so magical. The world has not changed. Only our way of seeing it has. We live in an age of distractions. Our phones, our worries, our endless to-do lists, they pull us away from life. We think multitasking makes us productive, but all it does is divide our attention, making everything feel dull and meaningless. Have you ever noticed how time slows down when you are fully present? When you watch a sunset, when you sit by the ocean, when you listen to music with your whole heart. In these moments, there is no stress, no fear, no longing. There is only peace. This peace is not something outside of us. It is not something we have to find. It is already here, but we are too busy to notice it. Buddha compared the mind to a muddy pond. When we are restless, when we are lost in thoughts, the water is cloudy. But when we become still, the mud settles. The water becomes clear, and we begin to see things as they really are. Right now, your mind is full of noise, thoughts, worries, plans, regrets. But if you stop, if you breathe, if you focus on this moment, just this moment, you will begin to see a different world. A world that has always been here, waiting for you to notice. Try this. Next time you eat, just eat. Don't check your phone. Don't rush. Taste every bite. Feel the texture. Smell the aroma. And notice how different it feels. Next time you walk, just walk. Don't think about your problems. Don't plan your day. Just feel each step. Hear the sounds around you. Feel the air on your skin. Next time you talk to someone, just listen. Don't think about what you will say next. Don't judge. Just be there. See how their eyes move. Hear the emotion in their voice. Life is happening now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right here, in this breath, in this step, in this moment. But we waste it. We rush through our days, thinking happiness is somewhere in the future. It is not. Happiness is in the simple things, a deep breath, the sound of the rain, the warmth of the sun on your skin. But to feel these things, you must be here, not lost in thought, not trapped in regret, but fully awake, fully alive. Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is the secret. This is the way. You don't need more things, more achievements, more approval. You need to wake up. Wake up to the life that is happening right now. Wake up to the beauty that is all around you. Wake up to the peace that is already within you. Because in the end, there is no past. There is no future. There is only this moment. And this moment is enough. The Four Noble Truths, understanding the roots of suffering. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Let the noise of the world fade. Now, listen closely. There is a truth that has been passed down for thousands of years, a truth that can change your life. It is simple, yet most people ignore it. It is the foundation of everything the Buddha taught, the Four Noble Truths. Life, as we know it, is filled with struggle. Not always, but often enough. There is joy, yes, but there is also pain. There are moments of peace, but also moments of suffering. Why? Why does suffering follow us like a shadow? This is the first truth. Suffering exists. Look around. Everyone you see has experienced suffering in some way. A man loses his job. A woman's heart is broken. A child cries because they didn't get what they wanted. A family grieves for a loved one. Even those who seem to have everything, money, power, fame, are not free from suffering. They too worry, they too fear, they too feel empty at times. No one escapes this. Suffering is not always dramatic. It is not just loss, heartbreak, or illness. It is also the little things, the frustration of waiting in traffic, the stress of a long to-do list, the restless feeling that something is missing. Even happiness is tied to suffering because when we have something good, we fear losing it. But why? Why does suffering exist? This brings us to the second truth. Suffering comes from craving, from attachment. We suffer because we want. We want life to be different than it is. We want things to last forever. We want comfort, security, love, success. And when we don't get what we want, we feel pain. Even when we do get it, the happiness doesn't last, because soon we want something else. Think about it. The mind is always reaching, always chasing. If you get a promotion, you soon start thinking about the next one. If you buy a beautiful house, you begin looking at ways to improve it. Even in relationships, we attach ourselves to expectations, expecting others to always act a certain way, expecting love to always feel the same. Then when reality does not match our expectations, suffering begins. It is not wrong to want things. The problem is clinging, holding on so tightly that we cannot accept change. The truth is, nothing in this world is permanent. Everything changes, everything fades. And yet, we resist this truth, and in that resistance, we suffer. Now, listen carefully. There is hope. The third truth says, suffering can end. If suffering is caused by craving, by attachment, then freedom comes when we let go. Imagine you are holding a rope, and on the other end, something is pulling you, causing pain. You hold on tighter, thinking that is the solution. But what if instead, you just let go? The pain would stop instantly. This is the heart of Buddhist teaching. When we let go of attachment, we stop suffering. When we stop craving what we don't have and start appreciating what is, we find peace. It does not mean we stop enjoying life. It means we stop expecting life to always go our way. We stop being controlled by desires, by fears, by the endless cycle of wanting more. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means accepting life as it is. When we stop clinging to what we cannot control, we discover a deep sense of freedom. The storms of life may come, but they do not shake us, because we are no longer fighting against them. The fourth truth is the path to this freedom. There is a way to end suffering. This is not just an idea. It is a practice, a way of living. It is called the Eightfold Path, and it is the key to lasting happiness. It teaches us how to live with wisdom, with mindfulness, with kindness. It is not about blind faith. It is about seeing reality clearly and making choices that lead to inner peace. When we follow this path, life changes. We stop reacting blindly. We stop chasing empty pleasures. We start finding joy in the simple things. In the present moment, we learn to accept, to love, to be at peace. This is the truth that Buddha discovered. A truth not based on beliefs, but on experience. A truth that can be tested, practiced, and lived. It does not promise instant happiness, but it does offer freedom. The kind of freedom that cannot be taken away by circumstances, by loss, or by change. So, ask yourself, what are you clinging to? What desires are keeping you trapped? What expectations are making you suffer? When you begin to see these things clearly, you take the first step toward real happiness. The Four Noble Truths are not just words. They are a doorway that leads to a new way of living, a new way of seeing the world. And once you step through, you will never see life the same way again. The Eightfold Path, a practical guide to a happy life. You seek happiness, yet it slips through your fingers. You chase it, yet it moves further away. Have you ever wondered why? The mind is restless, always searching, always wanting. But what if happiness is not something you chase? What if it is something you create? Buddha saw this long ago. He understood why people suffer. He saw their endless desires, their fears, their frustrations. And he found a way out. Not a secret, not a quick trick, but a path. A way to live that brings true peace, true joy. This path is called the Eightfold Path. It is not just philosophy. It is a way of life. A path you walk, step by step, to free yourself from suffering. Imagine walking on a narrow road. On one side, there is extreme indulgence, seeking pleasure in every moment, chasing desires, always wanting more. On the other side, there is extreme denial, rejecting life, avoiding all joy, thinking suffering is the only way to wisdom. Neither path leads to true peace. The middle way does. This is what the Eightfold Path is: balance, wisdom, and freedom. But how do you walk this path? You begin with understanding. If you don't see the truth, you will keep making the same mistakes. Have you ever met someone who keeps running into the same problems again and again? They change jobs, but the frustration follows them. They change relationships, but the loneliness returns. They move to a new place, yet they feel the same inside. Why? Because they never stop to see clearly. They think the problem is outside, but it is within. When you see clearly, everything changes. You no longer fight against life. You no longer struggle with what you cannot control. You begin to live with wisdom, and with wisdom comes peace. But wisdom alone is not enough. You must align your actions with your understanding. If you know the fire burns, yet you keep touching it, will your knowledge help you? If you understand kindness is powerful, yet you treat others with anger, will your understanding change your life? No. Action matters. Have you ever tried to hold water in your hands? The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Life is like that. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The Eightfold Path teaches a different way, a way of flowing with life, instead of fighting against it. Some people think peace means doing nothing, sitting still, avoiding problems, being silent. But real peace is not an action. It is right action. It is knowing what to do and what not to do. It is living in a way that brings peace, not regret. Think of your words. Have you ever spoken in anger and later wished you hadn't? Words have power. They can heal or they can harm. Every word you speak leaves a mark on others and on yourself. The Eightfold Path teaches you to speak with awareness, to say what is true, what is kind, what is necessary, to speak in a way that brings understanding, not conflict. And then there is the mind. A restless mind is a troubled mind. Have you ever tried to sit still, yet your thoughts race like a storm? The past pulls you back, the future pulls you forward. You are never truly here. And when you are not here, you miss life. Training the mind is like training a wild horse. If you let it run without control, it will throw you off. But if you train it with patience, with care, it will take you where you need to go. The Eightfold Path teaches you how to calm the mind, how to focus, how to let go of distractions, how to live fully in this moment, not lost in yesterday or tomorrow. Many people live like they are asleep. They follow routines, they react to life, but they do not truly see. They are caught in habits, in patterns, in endless desires. The Eightfold Path is about waking up, about seeing life as it really is, about living with awareness, instead of sleepwalking through existence. This path is not about rules. It is not about restrictions. It is about freedom. Freedom from suffering, freedom from fear, freedom from the endless cycle of wanting and never being satisfied. Happiness is not something you will find someday. It is something you build, right here, right now, with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions. The path is clear. The choice is yours. Will you keep chasing happiness, or will you learn to create it? Compassion and loving kindness, the key to inner peace. Come closer, listen carefully. Have you ever felt heavy inside, as if something is weighing on your heart? Maybe anger, maybe resentment, maybe a grudge you can't let go of? You smile on the outside, but inside, there is a storm. Why does this happen? Why does holding on to pain feel easier than letting it go? Now, imagine this. You are holding a hot coal in your hand, ready to throw it at someone who hurt you. But the longer you hold it, the more it burns you. The pain is real, and yet, you refuse to drop it. Why? Because anger feels justified. Because the mind whispers, they deserve it. But in truth, who is suffering more? You, or the person you are angry at? This is what anger does. It burns from within, and yet, we carry it. We carry our disappointments, our grudges, our sadness like heavy stones in a bag. We refuse to put them down, and we wonder why we feel so exhausted, so restless, so lost. But what if I told you there is another way? A way to lighten this load? Not by ignoring the pain, but by transforming it into something else. That way is compassion. Compassion is not just kindness. It is understanding. It is seeing beyond someone's actions and into their suffering. It is realizing that people hurt others because they themselves are hurting. A person filled with peace does not go around spreading pain. Only those who suffer inside make others suffer. Think of a time when someone hurt you deeply. Maybe they betrayed you, insulted you, or treated you unfairly. At that moment, you felt pain, anger, maybe even hatred. But now, take a step back. Why did they act that way? Were they happy? Were they at peace? Or were they lost in their own suffering? A person who is drowning does not care who they pull down with them. People trapped in their own misery often spread that misery to others. But here is the secret. You don't have to let their suffering become yours. You don't have to carry their pain inside you. So what do? You choose compassion, not for them, but for yourself. Because when you hold on to anger, you keep the wound open. But when you forgive, when you let go, the wound begins to heal. Does this mean you should let people walk all over you? No. Compassion is not weakness. It is not allowing others to mistreat you. It is simply refusing to let their actions poison your heart. It is choosing peace over endless battles. And here is something even deeper. Compassion is not just for others. It is for yourself. Look at how often you punish yourself for past mistakes. How often you replay your regrets, your failures, your moments of shame. Why? Do you think hurting yourself will change the past? If a child makes a mistake, do you scream at them forever? No. You teach them. You guide them with kindness. Then why treat yourself any differently? Why be your own enemy? Be gentle with yourself. Forgive yourself. Love yourself. Only then can you truly love others. Only then can you give kindness without feeling empty inside. Now, let's talk about loving kindness. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, but instead of seeing your reflection, you see the younger version of yourself, the child you once were. Look at their eyes, their innocence, their hope. Would you criticize them? Would you say they are not good enough? No. You would hold them. You would tell them they are worthy, they are loved. This is how you should treat yourself, with that same kindness, that same warmth. And once your own heart is filled with love, it will naturally overflow to others. Buddha taught a simple practice called metta, loving kindness meditation. It is a way to train your heart to be free of hatred, free of anger. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, and repeat these words. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. Then, you think of someone you love and say, may they be happy. May they be healthy. May they be free from suffering. Then, you think of a stranger and say the same words. Then, someone who has hurt you. And finally, the entire world. At first, it feels strange, maybe even impossible. But day by day, something changes. Your heart softens. The walls of anger start to break. You start to see people, not just their actions. And you realize that everyone is just trying to find happiness in their own way, even when they make mistakes. Compassion is not just an idea. It is a power that frees you from the prison of anger and hatred, a power that brings true inner peace. The world is full of suffering. You cannot erase all of it, but you can choose not to add to it. You can choose to be a light in the darkness, and that light, no matter how small, will always shine. So today, right now, I ask you, who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to let go of? And most importantly, can you be kind to yourself? Because in the end, true happiness is not in holding on. It is in letting go. Impermanence, embracing change as the nature of life. Everything changes. The seasons shift, the sun rises and sets, and no moment stays the same. Yet, we live as if things will last forever. We hold on to people, possessions, and even emotions, hoping they will stay the same. But have they ever? Think about a river. You step into it, feeling the cool water on your feet. But the next moment, the water that touched you is already gone, flowing downstream. Life is like that river, always moving, always changing. But instead of flowing with it, we try to hold on. And that is where suffering begins. Have you ever looked at an old photo and felt a deep sense of nostalgia? You remember the moment, the people, the laughter, but then a strange feeling washes over you. That time is gone. You can never go back. The people may have changed. You have changed. And no matter how much you wish to relive it, you cannot. This is the nature of impermanence. Nothing stays the same. Not our bodies, not our relationships, not even our thoughts. Yet, we struggle against this truth. We cling to youth, fearing old age. We hold on to love, fearing loss. We chase happiness, fearing sadness. But what if we stopped resisting? What if, instead of fearing change, we embraced it? Imagine a flower blooming in spring. It is beautiful, full of life. But soon, the petals start to fall. Does the flower suffer? No. It simply lets go. And when the time comes, it returns to the earth, making way for new life. The flower does not resist change. It flows with it. Now, think about yourself. How much pain comes from trying to keep things the same? The people in your life change. Some grow closer, some drift away. Your body changes. What you wanted 5 years ago is not what you want today. Even your thoughts and beliefs evolve. So why do we resist something that is natural? Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you grip it tightly, trying to keep it all, it slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, with an open palm, it stays. Life is the same. The more we try to hold on, the more we lose. But when we accept change, we find peace. Some people fear impermanence because they think it means losing what they love. But look deeper. Impermanence is not just about loss. It is also about renewal. The pain you felt in the past, the struggles, the heartbreak, they did not last forever, did they? They passed. Just like the good moments, the bad ones are temporary too. A great Zen story tells of a wise man who was given a beautiful cup. He loved it, admired it, and used it daily. But he always reminded himself, this cup is already broken, not because it was damaged, but because one day it would break. And when it finally did, he did not suffer. He had already accepted its fate. What if we lived this way? What if, instead of pretending things would last forever, we cherished them while they were here, knowing they would one day be gone? Wouldn't that make life more precious? When we truly understand impermanence, fear fades away. We stop worrying about the future because we know everything is temporary. Pain will pass, joy will pass, and that is okay. We begin to live fully in the present, appreciating what we have instead of fearing what we might lose. Think about a sunset. You know it will not last forever. But do you cry as the sun goes down? No. You enjoy its beauty while it is there. You watch as the colors fade, knowing that tomorrow, the sun will rise again. Life is just like that sunset. Always changing, always moving, always renewing. Many people waste their lives chasing things that will not last. They seek wealth, thinking it will make them happy forever. They chase beauty, trying to freeze time. They cling to people, afraid of being alone. But in the end, nothing stays the same. And that is not something to be sad about. It is something to be grateful for. Because of impermanence, we can grow. Because of impermanence, pain does not last. Because of impermanence, every moment is unique and special. When we accept this, we stop fighting life. We stop fearing loss. And we start truly living. So, the next time you feel sad about something changing, remember, this too shall pass. Just like the seasons, just like the waves in the ocean, just like every breath you take. Nothing is permanent. And that is what makes life beautiful. Ego and self-identity, the barrier to true happiness. Sit down. Breathe. Let me ask you something. Who are you? Are you your name? Your job? Your achievements? Or are you something deeper? From the moment we are born, we are given a name, a role, a place in the world. We are taught who we are, what we should do, and what success looks like. But what if I told you that this identity you hold so tightly is the very thing keeping you from true happiness? Look at a river. It flows, always moving, never the same from one moment to the next. Now, imagine trying to grab a handful of that water and hold on to it. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. This is what happens when we cling to our ego, our idea of self. The more we try to define who we are, the more we suffer. Think about it. How many times have you been hurt because someone didn't respect you? How often do you feel angry because someone questioned your intelligence, your abilities, your worth? The ego takes every insult personally. It needs to be right. It needs to be admired. And when it doesn't get what it wants, it suffers. But here's the truth. This self that we defend so fiercely is just a collection of thoughts, memories, and labels. It is not real. It is not solid. It is not permanent. It is like a shadow on the ground, there, but not truly you. Imagine a man walking through the marketplace. Someone insults him. If he is ruled by his ego, he gets angry, fights back, and carries that anger all day. But if he has let go of his ego, he simply smiles and walks on. The insult does not touch him, because he does not see himself as something that can be harmed by words. The ego is fragile. It constantly needs to prove itself. It feeds on praise and fears criticism. It makes us compare ourselves to others. Am I better? Am I worse? Am I important? But happiness does not come from proving yourself. It comes from being free. Think about the last time you were truly happy. Were you worried about what others thought? Or were you lost in the moment, simply being? When we forget ourselves, when we lose our self-consciousness, we feel light, peaceful, alive. That is the state beyond ego. But how do we free ourselves from this false identity? First, we must see it. Observe how the ego reacts to things. Notice when it gets offended. Notice when it craves attention. See how it clings to titles, possessions, and achievements. Just watch it. The more you see it, the less power it has over you. Then, understand that you are not your thoughts. You are not your opinions. You are not your past mistakes or future worries. You are something deeper, pure awareness, beyond labels, beyond judgment. Imagine a clear blue sky. Thoughts are like passing clouds. Some are light and pleasant. Others are dark and heavy. But the sky itself is untouched. That sky is your true self. The ego is just the passing weather. When you stop identifying with the ego, a deep peace arises. You no longer need to prove anything. You no longer need to defend yourself. You simply exist, free from the burden of self. Buddha once told a story. A man was crossing a river and found a small raft. He used it to get to the other side. But once he arrived, he picked up the raft and carried it on his back. Why? He no longer needed it. Yet he clung to it. This is what we do with our ego. It was useful once, but now it only weighs us down. Let it go. Drop the burden. Be like the river, flowing, free, changing with each moment. Do not hold on to a fixed idea of who you are. Simply be. What happens when you release the ego? You stop fearing failure. You stop taking things personally. You stop needing to prove yourself. And in that space, a deep happiness arises. Not the happiness of achievement, but the happiness of freedom. There is nothing to defend, nothing to protect, nothing to fear. You are not the title you carry, the opinions you hold, or the story you tell yourself. You are something far greater. Let the river flow. Let the clouds pass. Let go of the false self, and happiness will find you. The role of meditation, training the mind for lasting joy. Sit down, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. What do you feel? The world is still moving, time is still passing, and yet, in this moment, everything is completely still. This is meditation. It is not a ritual, not a complicated practice. It is simply the act of being present. Why do people struggle with happiness? Why do they feel restless, anxious, or lost? The mind is like a monkey, jumping from one thought to another, never stopping, never resting. It is always thinking about the past or worrying about the future. But happiness does not exist in the past or the future. It only exists here, now, in this moment. Think about this. You are drinking a cup of tea, but instead of enjoying the tea, your mind is elsewhere. Maybe thinking about work, or a problem, or something that happened yesterday. The tea is warm, the taste is rich, but you don't notice it. You are lost in thought. This is how most people live. Not present, not aware, not truly alive. Meditation is the key to waking up. It is the practice of watching the mind instead of being controlled by it. Just like a wild horse needs training, the mind also needs training. If left uncontrolled, it will take you on a ride full of worries, regrets, and fears. But if you learn to guide it, you will find peace that nothing can shake. Many think meditation is about stopping thoughts, but that is not true. Thoughts will come and go, just like clouds in the sky. Meditation is simply about not following them. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow. The water moves, but you do not chase it. That is meditation. You watch your thoughts without being pulled away by them. In everyday life, people react to everything. If someone says something rude, they get angry. If something does not go as planned, they get frustrated. Their emotions control them, like puppets on a string. But meditation helps cut those strings. It gives space between an event and your reaction. Instead of being controlled by emotions, you observe them. A simple example: someone insults you. What happens? The mind reacts instantly. You feel hurt, angry, defensive. But in meditation, you learn to pause. You see the anger rise, but you do not act on it. You choose how to respond. Then that choice gives you power. The beauty of meditation is that it requires nothing. You do not need a special place, or fancy clothes, or long hours. You only need your breath. The breath is always with you. It is your anchor to the present moment. Whenever the mind starts to wander, you gently bring it back to the breath. Try this. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. Feel it leave. Just focus on this simple act of breathing. At first, the mind will resist. Thoughts will come rushing in. That is okay. Just notice them, and gently bring your focus back to the breath. In the beginning, meditation feels strange. The mind will tell you it is boring, or that you have better things to do. But this is just resistance. Imagine a glass of muddy water. If you keep stirring it, the water stays cloudy. But if you leave it still, the mud settles, and the water becomes clear. The same happens with the mind. Meditation allows clarity to rise. With time, something magical happens. The constant noise in your head starts to quiet down. You feel lighter. Worries lose their grip. A deep sense of calm takes over. This calm is not because life has changed. It is because you have changed. Most people chase happiness in the outside world. But happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it flies away. When you sit still, when you become present, the butterfly comes and rests on your shoulder. Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Meditation is the doorway to that peace. It teaches you to be happy without needing anything to change. No longer waiting for the next success, the next relationship, the next thing. Just happy now, as you are. People think meditation is only for monks or spiritual people. But this is not true. Meditation is for everyone. Whether you are rich or poor, busy or free, young or old, everyone can meditate. And those who do, discover something incredible. Happiness was never something to be found. It was always inside. Life will always have ups and downs, good days and bad days. But when the mind is trained, it does not get shaken. Just like a mountain stands firm in the wind, a meditative mind stays peaceful in all situations. The world is full of noise, distractions, and endless desires. But there is another way, a way to live calmly, clearly, and deeply. That way is meditation. If you want happiness that lasts, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime, then sit, breathe, and watch your mind. That is where true peace begins. Balance and simplicity, the middle way to fulfillment. You seek happiness, but you are pulled in different directions. One moment, you think success will make you happy. The next, you crave peace and wish for a simple life. You try to work hard, but then you feel burned out. You try to relax, but then you feel guilty for not doing enough. Do you ever wonder, where's the balance? Many people live like a boat caught in a storm, tossed between extremes. They chase pleasure, then feel empty. They run after success, then long for rest. They push themselves too hard, then collapse from exhaustion. They swing between too much and too little, never finding peace. Buddha saw this struggle. He understood the pain of living in extremes. That is why he taught the middle way, a path of balance, where one does not live in excess, nor in deprivation. A path where simplicity and wisdom bring peace. Imagine a musician tuning a stringed instrument. If the string is too loose, it will not play. If it is too tight, it will break. Only when it is tuned just right does it produce beautiful music. Your life is the same. If you live in extremes, you will struggle. But when you find balance, everything flows effortlessly. Think about your daily life. How often do you push yourself too hard, thinking that only endless effort will bring success? And how often do you fall into laziness, feeling unmotivated and lost? Neither extreme leads to happiness. One brings exhaustion, the other brings emptiness. The truth is, real fulfillment is found in balance. But what does balance really mean? Does it mean doing everything in moderation? Not quite. Balance is not about doing a little bit of everything. It is about knowing what truly matters and giving it the right place in your life. Look at nature. The sun rises and sets. The seasons change. The tides come and go. There is always movement, yet always harmony. Nothing is forced. Nothing is rushed. If nature followed extremes, the world would collapse. The same is true for your life. Modern life makes balance difficult. You are told to work harder, achieve more, buy more, and always stay ahead. But at the same time, you are told to slow down, take breaks, and enjoy life. These messages pull you in opposite directions, leaving you confused. Buddhism teaches that the answer is not in choosing one side, but in walking the middle path. You do not have to give up success, but you do not have to be consumed by it either. You do not have to reject pleasure, but you do not have to be ruled by it. You do not have to isolate yourself from the world, but you do not have to be trapped by it. A balanced life is not about having everything. It is about knowing what is enough. When you understand what is truly needed, you stop wasting energy on what is not. Look at a simple meal, a small bowl of rice and vegetables. Nothing fancy, nothing excessive. Yet, if eaten with gratitude, it brings deep satisfaction. Now, look at a feast with dozens of dishes. It looks exciting, but soon, it becomes overwhelming. The stomach feels heavy, the mind feels dull, and soon, the pleasure of eating is lost. More is not always better. The same applies to life. More work does not always bring more success. More possessions do not always bring more happiness. More entertainment does not always bring more joy. There is a point where more stops helping and starts hurting. The secret to balance is simplicity. Simplicity does not mean giving up everything. It means clearing away what is unnecessary so that you can fully enjoy what truly matters. It means choosing quality over quantity, depth over distraction, presence over pressure. Think about your mind. A cluttered mind, filled with worries, regrets, and endless desires, cannot find peace. But when the mind is clear, when it is not burdened by too much, it becomes light, free, and joyful. Simplicity is powerful. A simple moment of stillness, watching the rain, can bring deep peace. A simple conversation with a loved one, free from distractions, can bring deep joy. A simple act of kindness, done with sincerity, can bring deep fulfillment. Many people think they need more to be happy. More money, more success, more experiences. But the truth is, most people need less. Less stress, less clutter, less noise, less overthinking. A life of balance is not about adding more. It is about removing what is unnecessary. Imagine carrying a heavy bag on a long journey. At first, you think you need everything inside it. But as you walk, the weight becomes unbearable. So, you start removing things. And with each item you let go, you feel lighter, freer, more at peace. This is how balance works. Not by taking on more, but by letting go of what weighs you down. If you feel stuck between extremes, ask yourself, what is truly necessary? What is weighing me down? What can I let go of? The middle way is not about struggle. It is about flow. It is about living in harmony with life, instead of fighting against it. It is about knowing when to push forward and when to step back, when to work and when to rest, when to hold on and when to let go. Balance is not something you achieve once. It is something you practice every day. It is in the way you wake up in the morning, the way you eat your meals, the way you speak to others, the way you treat yourself. It is in every choice you make. If you want to find fulfillment, stop chasing extremes. Stop swinging between too much and too little. Instead, walk the middle path. Live simply. Choose wisely. Let go of what is unnecessary. And you will find that happiness is not something far away. It is right here, in the space between excess and emptiness. That is the beauty of balance. It is not something you search for. It is something you create. True happiness, living with wisdom and purpose. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Do you notice it? Right now, in this moment, nothing is missing. Nothing is lacking. You are here, alive, present. But why does the mind always whisper, something more is needed? We spend our whole lives chasing happiness, running after things, goals, and desires, hoping they will finally bring us peace. But look at your past. How many times did you think, once I get this, I'll be happy? And how many times did that happiness last? It fades. It always fades. Like smoke in the wind. Buddha saw this. He understood the game we play. The endless cycle of wanting, getting, and wanting again. He saw how we tie our happiness to things that will never last. Money, success, relationships, even our own identities, they all change. And when they do, we suffer. So, what is true happiness? What is the secret we've been missing? It is not found in more. It is found in less. Less attachment, less resistance, less chasing after what is already slipping through our fingers. Happiness is not something you find. It is something you realize. It has been with you all along, hidden under layers of craving, fear, and illusion. Imagine the sky covered by clouds. You think the sun is gone, but the sun was always there. It never left. Your happiness is the same. A wise person does not look for happiness outside. They cultivate it inside. They stop waiting for life to be perfect. They stop depending on things they cannot control. They understand that everything is impermanent, and instead of fearing this, they embrace it. Think of a river. It never holds on to the water that passes through it. It lets go, moment by moment, allowing life to flow naturally. This is the way of happiness. To let go, to stop clinging, to flow with life instead of fighting it. So, how do you live this way? How do you bring this wisdom into your daily life? First, stop resisting reality. When something painful happens, we say, "This should not be." But reality does not care what we think. It simply is. The more we resist, the more we suffer. Accept things as they are, and suffering lessens. Second, practice gratitude. The mind is always looking for what is missing. But look around. There is so much to be grateful for. The warmth of the sun, the sound of the wind, the laughter of a friend. Happiness is here, but we must notice it. Third, live with purpose. Ask yourself, what truly matters? Not what the world tells you to chase, but what feels right deep in your heart. Live with kindness. Help others. Do things that bring peace, not just pleasure. This is a happiness that lasts. Fourth, embrace the present moment. Not the past, not the future, just now. This breath, this step, this feeling. Right now is the only place where happiness can exist. And finally, let go of the illusion of control. We think we can control life, but life moves on its own. Trying to control everything is like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips away. Let go. Trust. Flow. You do not need more to be happy. You need less illusion, less attachment, less fear. The moment you stop chasing happiness, you allow it to come to you. Now, my friend, we have walked this path together, step by step, truth by truth. But this is not the end. It is the beginning. You have the wisdom. You have the power. The question is, will you use it? There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please, if this message resonated with you, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps spread these teachings to more people searching for peace. And please, share your thoughts in the comments. Your journey matters. Your voice matters. True happiness is not a place you reach. It is the way you walk. So walk wisely, walk freely, and most of all, walk with peace. Beyond the journey, the ultimate truth of happiness. Sit with me. Breathe. Feel the air enter and leave your body. Can you sense the stillness underneath all the noise? That quiet presence beneath your thoughts? That is where true happiness lives. Not in the past, not in the future, not in anything outside of you, but right here, in this moment. We have walked this path together. We have seen how the mind is trapped in desires, how suffering arises from attachment, and how peace is found not in having more but in wanting less. But what now? What comes next? Let me tell you something important. Happiness is not an event. It is a way of being. If you think happiness is something to be achieved, you will always be waiting. But if you see happiness as something you carry within you, then nothing can take it away. But to truly understand this, we must go even deeper. So let us explore further. Let us go beyond ideas, beyond words, beyond even the self. The illusion of happiness. What if I told you that the very idea of happiness you hold is an illusion? That what you have been searching for does not even exist in the way you imagine? Think about the moments in your life when you felt happy. What was happening? Maybe you accomplished something. Maybe you received love. Maybe you had a moment of pleasure, a perfect sunset, or a joyful celebration. And then, the moment passed, the feeling faded, and the mind began searching again. We believe happiness is something we need to create or find, that it is something separate from us. But this is an illusion. Happiness is not a thing. It is a state of being. And this state is not created by external events. It is revealed when we stop resisting life as it is. The Buddha realized this. He saw that people live in a constant state of craving, always wanting, always reaching, always dissatisfied. And he saw that this endless search was the cause of suffering, not because wanting things is bad, but because we believe we need those things to be happy. Look around you. There are people with everything, wealth, success, admiration, who are deeply unhappy. And there are people with nothing who are at peace. Why? Because happiness does not come from what we have. It comes from how we see. If you think, I will be happy when I get this, you will never be happy. Because even when you get it, your mind will soon want something else. The cycle never ends. But if you say, I choose to be happy now, with whatever is, then happiness is yours, no matter what happens. So, if happiness is not something to chase, how do we experience it? The art of letting go. Imagine holding a rope tightly in your hand. The more you pull, the more it burns your skin. But what happens if you let go? The pain stops. The suffering ends. This is how attachment works. We hold on so tightly, to people, to ideas, to expectations, to control. And the more we cling, the more we suffer. But the moment we release our grip, peace returns. Buddhism teaches that happiness is not found in grabbing onto life, but in allowing life to flow. When we let go of the need to control, to demand, to hold on, we find something incredible: freedom. Let go of the past. It is gone. Let go of the future. It is unknown. Let go of the need for things to be different. They already are as they are. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you move with life, instead of against it. A river does not argue with the rocks in its path. It flows around them. Be like the river. Do not resist life. Flow with it. The power of presence. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen. What do you hear? The sounds of life, birds, wind, maybe even silence itself. Now ask yourself, what is wrong in this moment? Not in the future, not in the past, right now. Most of the time, suffering does not come from the present moment. It comes from the mind's stories about the past and the future. We regret, we replay, we worry, we imagine. And in doing so, we miss what is happening now. But right now is where happiness lives. Not in the next achievement, not in tomorrow's plans, not in yesterday's mistakes, only in this breath. The more present you become, the less suffering you experience. Why? Because suffering lives in time, but peace lives in the present. Try this every day. Stop for a few moments. Feel the air on your skin. Listen to the sounds around you. Look at the details of life. This is where happiness is found, not in big events, but in small moments of presence. The middle way, finding balance in life. Some believe happiness is found in extreme pleasure, chasing every desire, indulging in every craving. Others believe happiness comes from extreme discipline, giving up everything, rejecting the world. But Buddha discovered something different. He called it the middle way. It is not about excess. It is not about denial. It is about balance. Enjoy life, but do not cling to it. Work hard, but do not become a slave to success. Love deeply, but do not depend on others for your happiness. Live in harmony. Walk the middle path. This is the way of lasting peace. The ultimate truth. There is no you to be happy or unhappy. Now, let us go deeper. Beyond happiness, beyond suffering. Who are you? Are you your body? Your thoughts? Your name? Your memories? If you sit in stillness and look, you will see something strange. The self you think you are is only a collection of thoughts. And when thoughts settle, something else appears. Pure awareness, beyond identity, beyond ego. When you realize that the self is an illusion, suffering disappears. Because there is no you to suffer. There is only life, flowing, unfolding, happening. This is the ultimate freedom. Not only freedom from suffering, but freedom from the one who suffers. When the mind lets go of the illusion of self, only peace remains. A peace that is not dependent on anything. A happiness that is not based on conditions. This is enlightenment, not something mystical, but something incredibly simple. Seeing reality as it truly is. Final words. Happiness is your natural state. Happiness is not something you achieve. It is something you remember. It has been with you all along, buried beneath thoughts, fears, and desires. When you stop chasing, when you stop clinging, when you simply allow life to be, happiness rises on its own, like the sun emerging from behind the clouds. So, the question is not, how do I become happy? The question is, what is blocking my happiness right now? Look within. The answer has always been there. Walk wisely, live freely, and most of all, be at peace.